Hello and welcome back to another episode of Dugout Debrief. My name is Jack Burke, and today we're going to be recapping the weekend series between the Washington Nationals and Atlanta Braves. First off, I kind of just wanted to preface with the fact that in each of these three games, the rain was prevalent in each game. There was some sort of delay or some sort of overlooming thought that the rain would be kind of a factor in each of these games with delays in I think two of the games. So these guys really were kind of not dreading to play, but were wanting to get these games in, and it seemed a little awkward at times when there were guys not wanting to get on the field, and the grounds crew did a great job at getting the field back in great condition. But we're gonna jump into game one. First of all, we have Bryce Elder versus technically Richard Lovelady. He was the one that started them on the mound for the Washington Nationals, but it was just an opener for Miles Michaelis, which he's kind of had some struggles this year, and you've seen a number of guys have openers to start the year, and there's a few different guys that I'd like to see that more in the around the league, like Kumar Rocker on the Rangers would be a great one. Brian Bayo for the Red Sox. Some of these guys need to kind of get a little bit of help to start the lineup, and then they can kind of get thrust into the game after that. And it proves to be kind of a worthy tactic. In this game, we had Miles Michaelis go 5 innings pitched on 3 hits, no earned runs, and 3 Ks. So it did prove to be a successful opener strategy, especially against this very worthy Atlanta Braves offense. But his ERA still sits at a 6.1, so we need a little bit more production out of Miles Michaelis, and this could be the start of that. One other thing for the Nationals was Dylan Cruz getting called up. It was either right before the series or it was pretty much right before the first game of this series, so we get to see him in action. He hasn't been up since the start of last year, and he's a guy that you kind of want to see succeed in a league like this at his age, and he's one of their top prospects. So cool to see him back in the league. But then on the other side of the mound, we have Bryce Elder, who's been one of the key pieces in this rotation for the Braves, and he's been unreal against lefties this year. His strikeouts to walk ratio right now is 39 strikeouts to 19 walks at a .86 WHIP. He's only given up 21 hits in 46 and 2/3 innings pitched against lefties. For example, he's thrown 21 and 2/3 innings pitched against righties. So he's thrown against a lot more lefties and actually given up less hits. So he's been tearing it up on the mound this year. His ERA is sub 2 still. He goes 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, and 1 earned run today, or in game one. So still a very, very worthy performance and what they kind of need out of a guy like him. But I did notice, I was looking at his reference page and Baseball Savant page, and I was kind of curious how his performance looks like just overall in a lot of his splits. He is unreal with no outs, 1 out. Just getting that first guy out has been very key for him this year. But in pitching with 2 outs, if he gets runners on, even when there's not runners on, with 2 outs, his WHIP increases to 1.52. I think his WHIP was like a 0.5 with no outs and like 0.8 with 1 out. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think it's quite glaring. So if you can get him in a situation where you got bases runners on, with 2 outs, there's a chance that he might kind of get a little wild on the strike zone, or he's gonna give you something to hit. Thought that was pretty glaring, and I wanted to point that out. Something else was this Braves team. Since Drake Baldwin's gone down, they have Sandy Leon and Chadwick Tromp he just got called up. He's been kind of bouncing around the league, going from a few different teams and getting called up and down from the minors. But Sandy Leon starts this game at behind the dish, and something else I wanted to mention actually was the fact that obviously it's not ideal because Sandy Leon has been in the league for 14, 15 years now, and Chadwick Trump has been, up and down, not really been playing a whole lot in the majors recently, and kind of looking for a guy like Jonah Heim right now. Obviously, he just got traded to the Athletics, and so he wasn't really producing a whole ton at the plate either. But he's definitely more of a piece than Sandy Leone is right now. So if I'm the Braves, I wouldn't be that upset because Drake Baldwin's a all-star like talent, and to get him back will be very key. And there's, I don't want to say struggling lineup, but some of their key guys have been kind of tanking a little bit, like Matt Olson and Ozzy Albies, but they'll be back. Other than that, Chadwick Trump ends up replacing Sandy Leone in this game and has a really nice game at the plate. He ends up getting 2 hits, both of them coming in extra innings, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, he's comes up huge for this Braves team, and it was not really what I was expecting for a very slim position for the Braves. Heading over to the other side of the ball, CJ Abrams has been phenomenal for the Nats offense. I mean, this Nats offense as a whole has been great, but he has a triple in this game and a home run, driving in 3. So it's kind of cool to see him playing well for this Nationals team. He has been kind of all over the place, playing good, playing bad. He's had some off the field issues early in his career, but after a great month in April, his May has also been pretty good, and he's living right around the 900 plus OPS mark. And so I think the biggest thing with him is that he's able to hit with runners in scoring position. He's got a 379 batting average, a 435 on base percentage, and is slugging 672 with a 1.102 OPS with runners in scoring position, which is, you can't really ask for more, especially with a guy like James Wood, who's been getting on base at a very high rate right now. To have a guy right behind him in the lineup is awesome. And then another guy that I'd like to kind of point out is Austin Riley. He has a 3-for-3 day at the plate as well. He also has a walk, but he struggled somewhat this year. He's been a guy that you can kind of been able to lean on at the hot corner, and especially with his bat. But he struggled this year. Need to get him a little bit more, or get him going, especially with kind of the slower tail end of this offensive lineup that's been going on. Because Ronald Acuna's not even hitting. Matt Olson's been kind of a stinker. Michael Harris is still hitting, but Drake Baldwin is not. He's on the IL, so need Austin Riley to start producing. And then Ha-Seong Kim, he's a guy in this Braves lineup that's come back from the IL, and everyone was really excited about it. But he has been not very good. I think he's got like 3 or 4 hits in like 30 at bats since coming back. So he needs to get going. He did end up delivering on a perfectly executed safety squeeze in the 3rd inning, which was kind of a momentum shifter for this Braves team. The Nationals didn't really, you couldn't really do anything. He poked it right down the first base line. There was no play at the play because his runners on 1st and 3rd. So no force. It's really hard, really tough play for the first baseman to make, and it was perfectly executed. But it really seemed like there was, after that, it felt like the Braves were had it in control. But then CJ Abrams happened. They ended up going to the extra innings. Seemed like it kind of was all wrapped up after CJ Abrams hit the triple, and he got on 3rd with 1 out, driving in 2 runs, up 5-3 or 4-3, and Braves were 4-2. Sorry. Anyways, the Braves were able to come back, tied up again in the 10th, 4-4, with some very scrappy hitting bouts from like Chadwick Trump, being able to get on base, driving a couple runs, and then his walk off kind of resulting in the end of it. So the final score of Game 1, the Braves ended up taking that one in 11 innings, score of 5-4. We'll be moving on to Game 2 now, where we have Grant Holmes versus Jake Irvin. Grant Holmes heading into this game has a 3.8 ERA, and Jake Irvin has a 5.8 ERA heading into this game. So Grant Holmes has looked good at times this year. You like to see his ERA below 4. He's been kind of that kind of guy his whole career. in the last 3 years. But he needs to a little bit more control going deep into the games, and needs to kind of limit his walk rate. And then kind of moving over to Jake Irvin, he's had an interesting career looking at his reference page. I think he started 33 plus games in the last 2 years, and obviously the Nationals have not been good, but neither has he. Uh, his ERA has never been below like 5.5 up to this point, and it's just an interesting career to say the least. But Grant Holmes, well, so there's a rain delay kind of in the middle of the second inning that occurs. So both these guys get off to good starts, don't give up any runs up to this point, and then a rain delay occurs, and so they it was quite a while to be honest. I think this one there's a few rain delays in this series, but they end up keeping the starters out there, so it couldn't have been too long. Uh, Grant Holmes ends up going 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, but 10 strikeouts. Not really what someone would expect from a guy like Grant Holmes, but he ends up striking out 10, and then Jake Irvin, who actually has been having like he's had a much higher strikeout rate this year. His strikeouts per nine is up to 10.1, which is I wouldn't say elite, but it's impressive. And he ends up going 5 innings pitched, 0 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, and 7 Ks. Now his pitch count wasn't really that up there. I think the rain delay also wasn't testament to this, but he did end up leaving due to discomfort. He went out after the fifth. He kind of showed a little bit of discomfort leaving the mound, and then he goes out for his warm up pitches in the bottom of the sixth, and he's just not able to do it. So he leaves early. But would have been cool to see him go. But I think him getting this 0 run bout was what he needed. I mean, his ERA is going to drop just a little bit. I think he's down to like 5.3, but he needed that, and so did this Nationals team. Early in this game, we saw a triple from Dalen Lyle, and I kind of want to do a little bit more research on this Nationals lineup as a whole. He's been pretty good for them. He had a rough month of April. I think his OPS was in the 600s, but month of May, he's back up to an 850 OPS. His batting average is hovering right around 270, and this guy's fast. He's going to be playing really good defenses in left field as well, and he has a triple early in this game. Doesn't really have an effect on the game as a whole. They're not able to capitalize and score on it, but it kind of reminded me that there's a lot of these guys just lurking in this Nationals lineup that offensively are going to give you a lot, and that's why they're kind of staying in this National League East race. But it's not really even a race because the Braves are probably going to end up taking it, and the National League is really, really good this year, and so the fight for these wild card positions is an interesting one. But I don't think that the Nationals will be able to kind of compete with the Phillies. I know I'm getting on off track, but it's such a interesting topic to me because there's so many different teams in this National League this year that deserve a playoff spot and aren't going to get it because of how many really, really good teams there are in each division and how many bad teams there are in each of the divisions in the American League. I don't know. I talk about this pretty much every episode, but it's a glaring issue, and I don't even know if it's something that the MLB could fix, but it's nothing that it's just kind of bad luck. But it's fun. It'll be cool down the stretch to see which teams get in and which teams don't get in. So I believe James Wood had a walk in the first game, but he walks 2 more times in this game, and that's going to be a common occurrence throughout his season and overall this series as a whole. But he walks a ton. He ends up getting a base hit as well, but his on base percentage is hovering right around 400 this year. In the month of May, he's been getting on base at an unreal rate. Something that is sort of glaring though is his production against lefty pitchers this year. He's hitting a 214 batting average. His OPS drops from a 973 against righties to like a 789, which in the grand scheme of things, when a guy like him has that much power and that much talent, and especially being able to see the ball, I think this is something that's easily fixable for him, but he could become an all-star level talent if he's not already, if he's able to kind of start hitting lefties. We saw guys, at least at the start of the year, like O'Neal Cruz, be able to hit lefties at a better rate, considerably from what he had been before. He was hitting in like, I think he hit like .08 against lefties at some point earlier in his career, and so he's hitting better against lefties, and so I think that's, I want to say it's as simple as just seeing that kind of arm slot in batting practice is important. And I'm not saying he's not doing that, but uh, to see his production go up against lefty pitchers would be a very, very astronomical change in his game and could really change the course of his career because he can get paid a lot of money. This guy's got some special talent. He's huge. He's pretty fast. He can steal some bases too. So, anyways, Dylan Cruz ends up hitting a home run in this game as well. Like I said, he's a pretty high prospect for this organization. So, want him to see him get going. He's pretty good in the outfield as well. So, yeah, I think overall, I've been kind of just highlighting some guys in this game too, but there wasn't really a lot going on. The rain delay, I think, kind of torched things a little bit, but Nats produce got some hits and RBIs from guys that weren't really expecting or in this Nats lineup, but I think the rain delay was a really main factor in this game too, and might even see a little bit of that in game 3. So after the only 2 runs being scored by either team in this game, coming from 2 kind of unsuspecting guys on the Nationals, being 2 solo home runs, the Nationals take game 2 2-0, and we'll move on to try and see if they can take game 3 in the rubber match and give the Atlanta Braves their second ever series loss this season. But in game 3, like I said, the weather's been a factor big time up to this point, and they have an even longer rain delay in this game. But nonetheless, we had Foster Griffin versus Martin Perez. Martin Perez at a 2.85 ERA heading this game. Foster Griffin at a 4.02 ERA heading this game as well. Firstly, I just want to say Martin Perez, unreal. 35 years old, been in the league, I think 13 plus years now. He won't quit. His stats seem to get better as he's gotten now into the 2020s. And just a kind of a talent that no one was really expecting to be in this Braves lineup again after so many injuries, like Spencer Schwellenbach, shout out Nebraska, and Strider, and he's just been another main piece in this rotation that no one was really expecting him to be, especially because they kind of just picked him up off the waivers. No one claimed him, and they were able to pick him up again and pay him at a cheaper rate than what they were kind of expecting to. So he's been huge. But Foster Griffin having a kind of a fun season. He's gotten down to 2.12 ERA at some points this season, but his last 2 starts have not been great. Last 2 starts, he went 5 innings pitched, 9 earned runs, and then the other one going 6 innings pitched and 5 earned. So he's definitely looking to get back on track and find his way again. Anyways, Martin Perez, he goes 5 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So a quality outing from him again. You like to see the hits number go down just a little bit, but if you're Martin Perez and you're 35 years old, giving up 1 earned run against one of the better offenses in the league, you're happy. Foster Griffin goes 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned run, 1 walk, and 6 Ks. So quality start for Foster Griffin and he got back on track after those 2 rough starts. One of these standout guys comes from Ozzy Albies. He has 3 hits in this game and he scores. He's had a really tough May. His batting average is like looming in the low 200s, and his OPS is in the 600s as well. He's not playing well. Still playing great defense as second, but he had a scorching hot March and April, and he's just kind of looking to get back on track. So he has 3 hits this game. He's a base hit later in the game, but most of his hits this game weren't really hit that particularly that hard. He just this could be what he needs to get back on track, but like I said, the Braves need it, sort of. But if they're getting this kind of production from their rotation, they're going to be completely fine. Austin Riley has 2 more hits. Want to highlight him again because he needs to see him get back on track. And then James Wood walks 2 more times. He's just really seeing the ball really well right now. So, yeah. Something else I wrote down for this series was, or this game was, do we talk about Acuna? He, up to this point, he had a terrible series against the Nationals, and he's not really producing that much. He had a decent year last year in the games that he did end up playing. He only played like 90 games last year, but he's not playing that well. I mean, well, considering his expectations are so high, but I don't know. I think it's a conversation to be had, but not at this point. The Braves end up pressing in the bottom of the ninth after the Nationals kind of get out to an earlier lead, but there was an error by the second baseman Nunez for the Nationals, but they were able to kind of stay on track and take this game 2-1. These last 2 games, there was like an 85-minute rain delay in this middle of this game, so the last 2 games really didn't seem very inspiring from either teams. I was kind of hoping to see that there'd be a little bit more offense, especially because these 2 teams have had historically great offenses this year, and it was kind of a letdown. But I think the rain delays and weather kind of just played a massive role in that. But it is Atlanta in the middle of the spring, so once summertime hits, I think we're going to see a lot more production from this Braves offense, and hopefully that starts soon. But yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of Dugout Debrief. I'll be coming right back at you with another recap of the Yankees Royals game 1. I thought that was a very interesting matchup. I was able to watch that live and really take in all of the ups and downs that came with that game. And so keep on the lookout for that. And I appreciate your guys' support. I'll be looking for a little bit more ideas in the future. Please let me know if there's anything I can fix, any feedback. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great one. Thank you for listening.